This video is concerning a blue Mini Clubman that was moving at, estimates vary from 100 to 90 miles an hour. We're going to use the low end at 90. And at that point, it would have needed minimum, really, 500 feet total stopping distance for the period of time it takes for a person to realize they need to hit the stop, and the actual 400 feet minimum to come to a stop in most vehicles. This is the intersection depicted, well, before the impact, and it shows that the stop sign was almost completely bleached out. If you're not aware of what happened here, someone tried to clean off some graffiti, which you're not supposed to do, and it ended up compromising the surface of it, and basically it was paint thinner, and that happened about 2015, 2014, and this caused the sign to be compromised enough that it just started decaying. And yes, if you see this in your neighborhood, contact them and tell them that it's already caused 2 accidents, replace it, they're filing a lawsuit against the city. Don't say anything about safety, just say lawsuit and they'll replace it. Next, one of the reasons for the height of this, which will come up in a minute, is people hitting their head on stop signs. Stop signs are made out of a punched piece of metal. People hitting their heads because they don't pay attention, or they're on a bicycle, means that it has to be at a certain minimum and a certain maximum height range. And it's only changed based on an accident or other accidents. This is depending on people like me who look down all the time and don't actually watch where we're going. I'm an idiot, sorry. Hitting our heads on these things and complaining. Also based on accidents like what we're talking about here. But anyway, there's the impact point. You'll see it in the Google Street View in a minute. But we're going to start 400 feet away. Not the 500 feet that's needed, just 400. Now, yes, I'm acknowledging the Google Street View imagery is taken at an elevated height. You can tell from this that it's at literally 6 feet above the ground. I understand that. But when I turn around, you're going to see that we're going to be a little bit uphill, so this isn't quite as bad a comparison as you would think. Anyway, this is at the corner of Preston Way and Walgrove Avenue in Los Angeles. We are now 400 feet away, as mapped by Google's little measurement tool, which starts approximately at these houses here. Okay? So she would have had to look down there and see a stop sign or notice that there wasn't a through street at 90 miles an hour. And you'll notice there's a problem. The trees are covering the stop sign. Now, I want to point out this is the newest image here that it's got, and it's December 2022. It's a brand new red sign, and it's higher above the ground. So let's try the other dates. We're going to go from 2022 to the year 2020. Now, this is November, which means it'll either be more plant-like life or less. And again, it's covering the sign entirely. 2019. This is during April. It's slightly less plant life for some reason during summer, but it is in fact covering the sign. 2017 from this standpoint. It's covering it. 2016, again, we zoom in from 400 feet away. You can't even tell there's a sign there. 2015, this is the last year that it was mostly visible. And you can see that there's a sign there. What you see more prominently is a bunch of trees and a fence line. Now we're going to go back to 2014, and this is in August. And it's still covering it. Now we're going to go to the July 2011. Yeah. This is when the trees were the smallest, and they're still covering it from that angle. And we have a more ideal angle because we're actually taking the pathway. People park their car on the side of the street. This is the pathway. This is not an ideal road in general. But we're in the lane where it should work. We have the least amount of plant coverage. We have the most likelihood of seeing that stop sign, and we don't even see it. What we see is an obstruction in our pathway and no through street. Now I'm going to close this and bring us to the current year, or last year actually. I'm going to turn around and show you that when we turn around, this is a very long distance going up there, and it ends up there too. This is a street that isn't really a through street. Now I'm going to go up here a lot further. Do 2 clicks worth here until we can see the damn sign. Now we can see, again, this is a much higher up in the air sign. Let's look at more dates and look at 2020. And zoom in. Well, we can't see it because, damn it, we can't see it. So let's move up again. Okay, here we are, 2020, and the sign's a lollipop sign about double the height of that fence. When we do the latest image, it's much taller, making it less visible at a distance. Okay, so let's try when the last time it was really visible but showed damage. That's 2014, that's beginning of the damage from just chemical aging or whatever. And then 2015, it's really turning white. Then we get 2016, it's much worse, but you can still use it. 2017, now we got people putting graffiti on it, and yeah, it's getting acid etched, or more accurately, people are trying to remove the graffiti and fucking up the sign more. At this point, it's chemically breaking down. But at least it was low enough to see, right? Except at 400 feet, it isn't. So all they did was, when people complained it was a bleached out sign, they put a brand new sign up, finally after someone died, and put it up higher. Because they put a brand new post-it. Because that's the standard in the area, so you can't hit your head because you're on your selfie phone. No, I'm not kidding, that's where it came from. And I'm one of the idiots that probably caused this rule, because I have a habit of looking down at the ground when I'm walking anyway, because I'm an idiot. Yeah, I do. The only time I actually watch where I'm going is when I'm on a bike. By the way, bicyclists run into those things too. But yeah, that sign was much lower and harder to see, and at the point where it would have mattered, 400 feet back, and also I want to point out again, ever so slightly uphill, it wouldn't have made any damn difference. By the time she would have been able to see the sign, even if it was bright red, it would have done no good. Number one. Number two, instead of a stop sign, she had a presumption because of the neighborhood she's in that there would be stops like this to prevent fast drivers in the first place. Because there was a building there. And because she didn't stop, now there's no fence, and now there's almost no shrubbery, because she impacted it hard enough for her car to catch on fire and burn most of the place down. We're at the corner of Preston Way and Walgrove Avenue, Los Angeles, California, Google Street View analysis of a building that was impacted by somebody going nearly 90 miles an hour down a road that was slightly downhill with these plants obstructing her view of a sign that probably wouldn't have been visible anyway. And at the point it would have made any difference, it couldn't make any difference because she couldn't see the sign because of the plant life. If she was familiar with the area, she might have already known this. And even if she wasn't, at the time of the impact, it wasn't looking like it does now. It was looking like that. It was an obvious ending to the road in an area where there are a lot of roads that come to a sudden stop. The stop sign notwithstanding and not being really relevant because she wouldn't have been able to see it anyway. When looking at the reasons behind a crash, looking at an obscure occurrence or an anomaly is not the best way to track down the cause of something. You look at what's normal in the area over time, and more importantly, you look up where it would have made a difference. 400 feet from here is more important than 5. And it was actually 500. I'm being generous with it. It's just not visible because along the streets, in many cities, including ones you live in, trees will obstruct a stop sign for hundreds of feet back. I want to point out that these are considered kind of a symbol of being in California and in Los Angeles, and people don't like the idea of being required to trim them. And I want to point out that after this happened, they appear to have trimmed these to make the sign a lot more visible. I'm pretty sure everybody in the area is aware of the meme of this thing being bleached out. As for people pointing me to a video about it, I do appreciate it, but what you should have said is, look at the stop sign right in front of the place and turn around and see that it was bleached years ago. Not faulting anybody. Maybe they didn't know to tell me that. So anyway, I'll leave a link to the Google Street Views you're seeing here and the calculator to figure out how far back she would have had to start hitting the brakes, 400 feet, before it would have made a difference, and the fact that it wouldn't have. Now, if you go out there in a car, I'm sure some of you will see this sign or an equivalent, if you place it at the same height, approximately here, that you might have been able to see it. But would you see it going 90? Would it have made a difference? I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know. But I should cover this because I was asked. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And drive safe. Bye.